Morning! Let's look at our new character for today. Escapologist will be released today. Well, will be released tomorrow, but this will be our new survivor preview for now. We'll be kind of looking through Efren here and kind of analyzing him just a little bit more, but more or less, let's see here. So, the first will be ability introduction here first and foremost. It will be Escapologist, in which he does carry a dumbbell. I'm just going to call it dumbbell so it's a little bit easier to say. But he can create a smoke screen, as everyone can see here, and your projectiles does not cross the smoke screen, so this can, like, you know, block bonbons bombs. This can, like, blocks rippers foggy blade. It also does block gamekeepers hooks as well, alongside with spits. However, for sculptor, I don't think this is necessarily the case as well, because sculptor spawns something from the ground, so it might just be a little bit different. So depending on what chip characters you're going to play, I don't even think Mad Eyes does much up against this item. Now then, we cannot forget that the smoke screen has an outer range of 16.9 meters and an inner radius of 11.8 meters, and it only lasts for 15 seconds. From what I've seen as well, it seems like this ability is rechargeable, so realistically speaking, you can probably buy 15 seconds of, you know, containment time within this one smoke screen. Once again though, if the survivor is within the smoke screen and then the hunter is outside the smoke screen, hunter can't see where survivor is. If the survivor is outside the smoke screen and the hunter is inside the smoke screen, hunter still cannot see where the survivor is. However, the survivor can see where the hunter is if they're outside and the hunter is inside. More or less, this is kind of like a TME's ability, and also the fact that we have our second ability right now, in which it is called Escape Art. So if a turret is placed near a rocket chair, it'll take a total of 5 seconds. Well, you can activate this ability within 5 seconds to transfer the survivor towards another rocket chair, and it takes a total of 6 seconds to transfer here in total. Now, of course, we can't forget this is within 38 meters. We'll talk about this later on in, you know, a little bit more in-depth analytics of this character, but I just want to kind of introduce everyone to it first before anything else. The rocket chair will be locked for 6 seconds after transfer, and I'm quite sure that the elimination progress will also continue during that 6-second time as well after being transferred. But more or less in this case scenario, there needs to be a turret near the chair in order for you to actually use it. I'm not too sure. I am personally not too sure, realistically speaking, if there's going to be a turret at each chair. But if there is, that'll be pretty interesting to see whether they will nerf or not. Our third external trait here from the side of our Escapologist will be Misdirection, in which when you hit the survivor for the first time, which is a basic hit, they will dash forward within a certain amount of distance. That looks like a little bit longer than a blink distance, which isn't too bad, and they will be kind of immune to all abilities. It doesn't give them any speed boost though, and it does not give the hunter attack recovery. Now, last but not least will be Anticipation. His vaulting speed is increased by 10%. He can see all survivors when someone has been ballooned, and his decoding speed is decreased by 15%. So he looks like a rescuer slash a supporter main. But we're gonna end this here as I will now open my camera. Hi, it's been a while since I've seen everyone as well. I'll make my camera a little bit bigger compared to usual, but this is more or less just for a little bit more interactable between me and you guys. Let's do a little bit more of a skill analysis from the side of this character as well, as I increase this by a little bit. So let's go through the first skill. If we go through the first skill, as we watch through the video as well, there is one thing that I did realize as well, which is his main ability does have a cooldown. And if we see how long this cooldown is, it looks like a 30-second cooldown, depending on how fast that cooldown duration actually comes down. So like you see, that cooldown is relatively fast compared to, you know, a cheerleader and the peeper's recharge time. I would say this cooldown is around 30 seconds for each 15-second smoke screen you have. Now, depending on what the devs decide to do here, in a sense that if you can throw down a 15-second smoke screen and you can get another 15-second a smoke screen back in 15 seconds, I don't think that's necessarily fair, in a sense that it's not good for, you know, just chip hunters overall in general, and for hunters as well. But more or less for this ability, it's good for Escapologists when it comes to, you know, lowering the location and trying to block projectiles such as bonbon, such as, you know, reduce visibility, such as, you know, just containment overall. But you still cannot forget the fact that this ability necessarily does nothing. It basically does nothing. You can maybe place it around pallet or windows to play mind games in, but the realistic part of all of this is, like, if let's say Gamekeeper is able to get inside the smoke screen alongside with, you know, the Escapologist. Let's just say they're actually at the white zone near to where the fog is, right? Can Gamekeeper still use his hooks? We don't know, we'll know tomorrow, but if he can, then I don't think it's good for Escapologist as well. He still does have quite a few counters too. Now this is very good when it comes to supporting survivors as well, buying extra 15 seconds for their containment, but realistically speaking, would it last 15 seconds? That's another question at mind as well, honestly. But with this ability, you can definitely buy 16 seconds for yourself. You can see here, right, some of the hunter summons and projectiles cannot pass through the smoke 7 seconds after the survivor leaves the smoke screen. So like when they're within the smoke screen, okay, fair enough, you cannot deal any projectile damage for 7 seconds, and when they leave it, well no, it's actually when they leave, not when they enter. So when you enter, you have to leave. So this means projectiles work within smoke screen as long as they're within it, right? And if you don't use projectiles and survivors walk on the smoke screen, doesn't matter at all. You're gonna be able to see that you're gonna be able to catch up towards the survivor anyways. Like as we can see from like Ripper's point of view here, right? He's able to see when he's standing in the smoke screen, he can see outside it and inside it as well. Maybe visibility is a little bit damaged, but it's only the outer side of the smoke screen that matters the most. So as long as you walk in, I think that's all what matters, and it doesn't do anything to your basic hit. So you can just basic hit characters with charge attack, impulsive, anything here works. Next is Escape Trait. This ability, right, we need to focus on the fact that it says within 5 seconds. So very similar to Embalmer's Embalming, within 5 seconds, you need to place another survivor within a rocket chair near 38 meters. We'll see this as well, right? We'll see this as well. Like there has to be a turable on the ground. Once again, we said that we're not too sure whether or not there will be a turable or not, but realistically speaking, there could be a turtle on each rocket chair. There could be. Or I feel like they might give him the ability to actually place one near the rocket chair, but we'll see tomorrow during test server time. And of course, survivors cannot interact with the rocket chairs for 6 seconds after transferring this ability. This ability states that the rocket chair timer pauses during transfer, so it buys them extra 5 seconds of, you know, chair time, which is fine. I guess in a sense, okay, let's say it's like a full stack snooze, even though it's at 60%, it's a bit unfair. Fair enough, he's a rescuer, right? But also another sense is the fact that during the 6 seconds of not being able to interact with the rocket chair, that chair elimination progress still continues. It will still continue. And for people who say, but he transfers chair within 38 meters, look, realistically speaking, look where this chair is and where the next nearest chair is and where the other chair near the fake school gate is at. And we see from this guy's perspective, like, it's not that far away. If we go back here once again, there's a chair right in front of us. There's a chair near the cipher machine. You see the blue cipher machine on your right hand side. That's the other chair. And the last chair is on the left hand side. So one on right, one in front, one on left hand side. It's within 38 meters. It's within tinnitus range. It takes you 5 seconds to transfer. It takes you 6. It's also immune for 6 seconds. And during that 6 second time, this elimination progress will still continue to go up. So it's not going to affect any of us that much, aside from the fact that it's a 5 second transfer time. There is a chance that they'll reduce this to a 3 second transfer time, depending on, you know, the extra time that can be bought with this ability. But we'll also use a counterpoint in saying why this will not be nerfed later on as we see the third trait. But as you can see here, realistically speaking, this isn't going to affect any hunter. This will not affect any hunter. It's immune for 6 seconds as well, so like, you can't really early rescue. That's the thing. You can't also early rescue too. And like, realistically speaking, if the chair is actually stalled, I think they will nerf it. Look, if during the 6 seconds of the survivor being locked and the chair progress does not continue, okay, they will probably nerf this part. But the 5 second transfer time, I don't think they'll nerf that realistically speaking. But as we can see here, it doesn't matter too much. Honestly speaking, it doesn't matter too much. We see here, right, Escapologist can also move himself, but the nearest chair within this corner is almost only that chair over there. So like, is there a point in really moving yourself towards the survivor when you want to sell? No, not really. Now then, the third ability is Misdirection. Misdirection is an ability where if you hit the survivor, he'll dash forward. A little bit of similar to Blink Distance, but it's only for one basic hit. He can still take chip damages, by the way. He can still take chip damages. It has to be damage equal to greater than 1 normal attack. So this counter is JoJo in a sense that it does hurt him quite a lot. but Jojo and Hermit, but we'll just leave that be for now. We'll just leave that be for now. You can still do Chip Time Magic, Bonbon Sculptor, and Mad Eyes, but maybe for Feaster and Axe Boy, you'll have a little bit of a tougher time. But once again, if we just relook at this ability as much as possible, there's no attack recovery given to the Hunter at all. There's no attack recovery at all. So you can assume this ability, you can assume, fully assume that this ability is a just a mini blink for the survivor, mini flywheel for the survivor, right? And if you think about it once again, how the feck is this survivor going to reach the chair? How the feck is this survivor, realistically speaking, going to reach the chair? In one sense, this 100% counters Hullabaloo and Goatman. You like, I'm not disregarding it. 100% kind of Hullabaloo Goatman. But up against Geisha, up against Fool's Gold, up against, like, who's another good one? Up against, fast movement type, really good one. Up against Dream Witch, let's say, well, maybe not Dream Witch. I guess Dream Witch is a little bit hard to say. Up against Lizard, up against who? I'm just thinking about up against Gamekeeper, up against so many different characters out there. Realistically speaking, right, he can only body block once. So if you actually did get a hit on him early game, you can change targets and he can't rescue anymore. Like, if you want to come rescue, great, but you can still stuff him. He's still very stuffable as well. And if he is a rescuer who has to bring Tie Turner, he's a good enough easy chase for chip hunters, I'll be honest with you. He's a good enough easy chase for chip hunters, I'll be honest with you. Like, this does not pose a threat for Ripper, Gala, Bonbon. Does not pose a threat, maybe for Mad Eyes in a sense, yes. But, like, it does not pose a threat for Soul Weaver, who has a spit. It also is okay with Axe Boy. Well, maybe for Axe Boy you have to actually land your abilities, but Axe Boy catches up towards this guy so fast, where it doesn't really matter anyways, in a sense as well, right? This guy is such a great secondary chase, to the point that I don't think they're gonna nerf his chair camp ability. They might actually buff his Smokescreen in a sense, but he does have anticipation as well, in which increases his vaulting speed by 10%, and you can see any survivors within the range. When the survivor is ballooned, excuse me. But his decoding speed is decreased by 15% as well, right? But this guy, look, if you guys can say Nice is absolute trash, I'm joking, no one really says that aside from Eli. But Nice, but like, if you can compare this guy to Knight, I would say around the same thing. Realistically speaking, this guy is very similar to Knight, aside from the fact that you can, you know, switcheroo. You can, you know, buy extra 5-second time on the chair. But does it matter much? No. Will you use this ability in a sense that when you want to sell the survivors? No. If the survivor is down to the corner, would you really use this ability to, you know, chuck the survivor towards the other side of the map? No, not really. When the survivor is second chair and you want to rescue the survivor, yes, you can definitely use it so. But I can see so many scenarios where your randoms will fully throw your games. I mean, high chair might be a whole different scenario, but your randoms probably will. And if you see this Smokescreen as well, unless they make this Smokescreen similar to Goatman's like cage indication, then I guess in one sense this is really good, because like you can play palette mind games with the survivors. But in another sense as well, they'll probably make this cooldown 40 seconds. I'll be fully honest with you. If you can use the abilities for 15, like let's say it this way, right? Cheerleader can get 2 pom-poms early game. She can gain an 8% movement speed boost and a 4-second movement debuff and pull away from the hunter. And she takes 50-second recharge time. But I guess she has support abilities as well, which is a little bit of an issue. But this guy can throw out a dumbbell to support his survivors. And then there is only a 30-second cooldown time. I don't think that's possible. I think this is probably going to be a 40-second cooldown time item. And not only that as well, if we're going to be fully honest with ourselves, you're not going to use your abilities within this zone when the survivor is outside as well. So like, I'll be fully honest with you, I don't think it matters too much. I genuinely speaking don't think it matters too much. You can even first chase this guy. Genuinely, like, you can actually first chase this guy. I don't think he's OP. Now, maybe in test server tomorrow will be proven wrong. Once again, I'm not trying to disregard anyone's belief, but this is kind of just my point of view here from a hunter's perspective up against a survivor. Right, but I think this really goes back to the shenanigan of when Knight was released, when there was a 50-50 scenario of where people said Knight was bad, Knight was good, Knight was OP, Knight was trash. I think this is overall okay. The chair transfer time, the 5 second is really annoying. I'm not trying to disregard saying that it's not annoying. It definitely is annoying. However, I mean, I don't see an issue with it. I genuinely speaking don't see an issue with it. And you need to transfer within 5 seconds of someone when someone is chaired as well. Right, so like when it comes to his rescue, it does still pose as a threat to him that he can get stuff 100%. But in another sense as well, you cannot forget about the fact that he can see survivors when you're being ballooned. So like for me, in a sense, look, you have to be within pallet areas to actually use this ability. But even within pallet areas to use this ability, yes, the visibility is a little bit trash. But like, I mean, if you're gonna go up against good hunters and you're playing Escapologist and you use this ability in the open, you're 100% screwed, my friend. Like, this is really good for pallet mind game, don't get me wrong, but aside from that, just bring rage. Just bring rage. And even if he can transfer here, no one is rescuing this early in the game. No one will be rescuing that early in the game anyways. And like, see, he hits here, he goes in for the rescue. Right, he has no ability to contain. You can still double hit him. You can hit him once and then go after a cheerleader and then warp to cheerleader or something, but he has no ability to use it all afterwards. So you can't forget about that. Oh well, maybe for endgame you're a little bit screwed, but like realistically speaking, I think this guy is solo ranker / versatile. I don't think he's OP. I don't think he's OP because like that's the biggest in-depth analysis I can give you from a hunter's point of view and from a survivor's point of view. Right, I'm a mid-tier survivor. I'm not saying I'm a high-tier survivor. I'm 100% a mid-tier survivor. But as a high-tier hunter's point of view, he looks like an ADA. He does feel a little bit like an ADA to me, I'll be fully honest with you. He does feel like an ADA to me. Or even he feels like a journalist. Like, in one sense as well, he's a rescuer main, but can he really come into rescue, second, third rescue? No, not at all. Not at all. Don't think it's possible. Now, unless you can place a Smokescreen near the chair, then I guess fair enough in a sense that you can probably do something like that. But aside from that, no. No, I don't really see... I don't see him being OP. I see him not bannable. I don't see people will ban him. I don't even think Ripper will ban him if he just uses chip damage fog. So that's going to be it for me today, Sugar Buns. I'll see y'all in the stream. Bye-bye for now.